We are recording. Welcome back to LA Show. Thank you guys so much for tuning back in with me. We got Cisco here. And, we're going to go over a couple of topics, a couple of comments that we've been seeing as well that has been popping up. And, just discuss some general information regarding Nipsey Hussle's case and also looking at a couple of the players that are involved indirectly or directly. So, the first person on this list for this update, and this is a person that I've been getting a lot of comments about. You guys want me to think like you. And Cisco has already taught me that we follow the research. And if it leads us somewhere, it leads us somewhere. If it doesn't, we move on. Isn't that right, Cisco?
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
So I heard a lot about the LA issue, and I just want to know what you think about Firebug, or what have you found out about him?
Well, I mean, we spoke briefly about him. I think we spoke briefly about him in the players video. Um, but what's relevant now is what's been coming up in your comments. And basically, I'm gonna say that um, just to clarify for people that came on late, Firebug is mentioned as a player simply because he was a person that met up with Nipsey prior to his demise, but there is nothing that we have found that makes him in any way, shape, or form complicit in Nipsey's demise. But what's also coming up in the comments is uh, probably based on what they're hearing from other sources, is that there is some kind of connection between um, Firebug's friend that he lost, I think, in 2006 or 2007,
Mhm.
and David Gross's brother. They're not the same person. They died 10 years apart. David Gross's brother passed away. They're also from two different gangs. And actually, up until recently, those two different gangs were, even though they're both blood gangs, they were rivals.
Right.
Firebug is from um, um, Capinella Park, and David Gross's brother is from neighborhood Piru,
Mhm.
and he passed away, if I'm not mistaken, in July of 2017, July 7th or something like that of 2017.
Mhm.
And there, go ahead.
I'm just gonna look it up.
Yeah, and I think even we have some photos that's in that you'll be able to put up because I got some stuff that I sent you. So these two people aren't the same person, even though people are trying to make that connection. I don't know why. I've already cleared up, so I'm not going to mention that the people are trying to assume that Nipsey was took part in the death of Firebug's friend. There's no evidence of that. Firebug didn't say that in his interview, and he didn't even insinuate that. So this is basically, what I want to say. Just to wrap it up one more time, the two people are two different people from two different gangs, and yes, the '60s and Capinella Park are very, in terms of territory, they're very close to each other.
And you mean
But,
Sentinella, right? Sentinella
huh?
Park. Sentinel.
Centinela Park. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm sorry, Centinela Park.
Yeah, you good.
Uh, um, they're very close to each other, but that's not what Firebug has given you. And so, we should just leave it at that and don't try to go too far and look too, like I said, these are two different people from two different gangs, and they died about 10 years or more apart.
Correct. So, another situation that we stumbled across that really has been in the comments lately. I like that a lot of you guys are going back to our older videos. I really, really appreciate that because we did a lot of research and we put out a lot of facts, and that's how we're going to remain. So, to clear the air about Kid Flashy and his white convertible, Cisco
Right.
has found out that what have you found out, Cisco?
Well, it's not that I found out. I knew.
Yeah, I mean,
I
not
knew
found
it,
out,
but I had to share it. I wanted to share it with you, and that is that BMWs and other cars come in hardtop convertibles.
correct.
So the simple fact that people see a hardtop in the parking lot and then see on an Instagram post that he's in a convertible, that
Mm,
don't mean nothing. Just, BMW makes a hardtop convertible.
okay, because I mean that's been commented, and like I said, that's what I found out. See, I'm not really that into cars, but I knew that there was a possibility of if he's saying this, then it must have some, you know, something behind it. And I mean,
And if you want to really really get specific, it's a retractable roof. Basically, it's the roof of the car retracts
yeah, it
and
goes in.
folds up. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and if you don't have a keen eye or know the model of the car, you wouldn't know.
Okay. Okay. Really simple, you guys. Another thing that has popped up recently um, was a Big U documentary. And, Big U addressed a lot of things in that small amount of time. I guess I'll watch the whole documentary. And, I mean, I don't feel any type of way about it, you know. Um, I just think that he did say a lot within that time frame, and I'm just willing to listen to whatever else he has to say. What do you think
And
about?
I think, oh, okay, yeah. I think that he's talking about an upcoming documentary, and the documentary is actually being produced by a company, and uh, one of the famous YouTubers that gives a lot about the LA gang history, both Blood and Crip, Kev Mack, he is being allowed to participate in some capacity with that, and that's why it was highlighted on his channel that it's that the Big U documentary is up and coming.
Like a trailer. So basically, what he had on there was like a trailer, and we'll get to see the release of it. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. And like I said, I'm just willing to listen to whatever else he's willing to provide, whatever else. Um, this leads us to Cowboy. So we all know that Cowboy's locked up, and you know that it's some it's some shadiness behind why he's locked up. I assume that other people, if you have documentation that you would like to provide that shows what happened with Cowboy, then go ahead and send it to me. However, I'm
Right.
going to keep saying that on my platform. It's just something weird about his charges. Um,
Not
apparently,
only, go
oh
ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
no, no, you go ahead.
No, no, no. If you still on Cowboy, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm still on him. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I was just gonna say he gets out April 25th of 2020. That's his expected release date.
Right.
So if you telling me
April, April. You said April?
April 25th,
Right.
2020, yes, sir. I said April 25th.
Right. Wow.
So if he's charged with this and that and the third, and he's already a felon, you know.
And and according to when we started the investigation, he was a unregistered
Mhm.
sex offender who was in violation for a few years, a couple or a few years. My memory is not serving me right now.
It's all right because we
So
are getting the message across.
so you can see that um he's able to slip through the legal system, and another person that I think is not only we mentioned as a player, but also is a person of interest. Um, Not necessarily a person of interest in complicity to the murder per se, but he's definitely a person of interest, and that's Riza Islam and his mother. They too had charges just kind of melt away.
Yeah, we did
Uh,
switch on them.
or they were charged with, and they basically released from jail.
Correct.
And if you understand the history of these type of crimes and people that are in the fringes of the crime, this has happened before. That you can take that for what it's worth. I'm not really trying to say anything specific, but I have seen this before where people that were have important roles in a major murder case somehow slip through the legal system.
Hmm. Well, in my eyes, I call it a favor. You do what I need you to do, and I'll make this disappear for you. Or, you know, I think that's what they're pretty much playing now. I don't know. But it's just mighty daggone strange to me if you're saying that he's charged with this, that, and third, and now he's getting out in what, 2 months, a month?
Basically, yeah. I mean, yeah, basically 2 months, yeah.
Interesting. Well, like I said, if you got anything on those charges in the case that are, that he's facing, send it my way. I want to see it. I don't want to hear about it. As far as the next point, and then we're going to go ahead and get us some rest, is Nipsey Hussle's documentary, which is being produced by the Marathon Film Company that Nipsey Hussle owned, and also Ava DuVernay, who is the person that directed When They See Us. And I think she did a very, very good job on that documentary. So this should not be, something that's out of her realm. Um, and she seems like she's very connected to the community, um, and putting out our stories. So I'm ready to see that. I like seeing things like that. And documentaries and stuff like that. I'm not really a big movie head. I've always liked watching documentaries. So this should be pretty good, for our brother Nipsey Hussle and for other brothers to hear his story, to hear his come up, to hear his trials, his tribulations, to hear his failures, to hear his wins. You know, that's a beautiful story within itself. Unfortunately, it got taken from him, and that's another thing that our brothers need to understand. This life ain't a game. It's not a video game. You don't get another life. You don't get another chance. You don't get that once it's taken from you. So love your brother, um, for sure. Do you have anything to say?
No, I'm excited to see in which direction they're gonna go. If it's gonna be like a biopic, if it's gonna be
Mhm.
about his murder, if it's gonna be about the whole theme, the marathon continues. It'll be interesting which direction that that movie or documentary goes in. Hello?
Yeah, I'm just reading something real quick, but yeah.
Oh, okay.
So that is what we pretty much have compiled for everybody. Like I said, we read the comments, we see, we like to interact with people, but I thought that, it was a lot of comments saying the same thing. And it's okay. Voice your opinions. I have mine, and that's why, I built this platform. Let me know what you guys think down below. I know you will. And me and Cisco will be back with more. Also, Eric Holder goes to court next week,
Right,
February
right.
February 19th, 2020. And
Let me can I have a final little word?
of course.
Uh to the LA show family and people just visiting and pick up this video. In the previous video, I left a word that I wanted you guys to look up, and that word was subterfuge. Personally, based on my experience in this kind of stuff, I want you guys to be careful what you hear and what you see out there in the YouTube streets because I personally believe subterfuge is in full play. It's in full play, and I'm not gonna necessarily show my hand, but I actually really believe and know that it is in play. So just be careful uh, of who you listen to and what you listen to, whoever you want to listen to. And in fact, the more you listen to people, the more it'll be obvious where the subterfuge is coming from.
Well, at this point, we got a couple people on the radar, and it's sad. It's unfortunate, but people have their own ways of doing research. And like Cisco said, people have their own ways of subterfuge.
Right.
And
That's like I
that's
said.
the world we live in.
Like I said, I'm not gonna show my hand, but if I did, you guys would be amazed
Oh yeah,
and
I mean,
how
I was amazed.
and how far I could go into really revealing how deep the game goes when it comes to this Nipsey Hussle case and how it's being done.
Well, I see how it's being handled in the media. Total shutdown, total purge. Um, but that's understandable. TMZ leaked out or got a very key piece of information. So, we'll see what happens. We'll definitely see what happens. We'll be back with another one. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we're out.